Now, most of us know that the Great Barrier Reef of Australia is one of the natural wonders of the world, but did you know it's home to sharks that walk on land, deadly snails that hunt fish?
Intriguing, isn't it? You can find out more in a new series of documentaries which start on Sunday. They're presented by the marine biologist Monty Halls. We'll speak to him in just a moment, and the programme's producer James Brickle. In just a moment. First, though, let's take a look at Monty encountering some of the reef's white-tip sharks.
Once the first shark has caught its prey, the smell and commotion attracts others.
Every now and then, you find yourself in moderately strange situations in life, and this is one of them. I'm in a cave with feeding sharks. They're very well designed to be in here, and I'm not sure I am, quite frankly.
Well, he made it out alive. Monty Halls and James Brickle are here. Monty, that looked really scary. I just got claustrophobic by watching it.
It's one of those strange things. You have preconceived ideas, don't you, about what that's going to be like. But when you're actually there on site, it's this awesome predatory spectacle. And of course, I've got James here saying, "Oh, just get in there, you'll be fine."
And you're stuck in a cave with them.
Yeah, but they're very well designed to do what they do, and they're very intent on doing it. And as far as they're concerned, I think I was just another big predator that had turned up to join the feast. No, happily not. No.
So, James, what's the idea of the series? Because everyone, I think people have sort of preconceived notions of the Great Barrier Reef. Some of them are probably right. We think of it as a kind of giant living organism, don't we? And we think of sharks, for example. What are the things that you wanted to sort of tell us about it that possibly we didn't know?
Well, it's a huge, huge place. It's nearly 2,000 kilometres long. And even filming there for a year, our crews were on the reef for a year, you see so much about the reef that you wouldn't expect. So,
what are we looking at here? Give us a sense of what we're seeing here.
So that's a sand cay. So there's lots of islands dotted around the reef. And each one has its own personality. Each reef has its own personality. And actually that's very much the theme of the first programme, how much it changes. You can dive on the same diving spot and half an hour later it'll look completely different. The islands are all different. They all have a different personality, different animals. Yeah, so it's a very varied place.
You spent a year filming this?
Yes.
A year of your life out there?
Yeah, I went out with my family and we worked with Aussie crews and scientists who are based on the reef. Yeah, it's pretty tough.
One of the other things, Monty, people often think about in relation to the reef is the danger it's in. And, you know, we often hear stories about how parts of it are dying off and the pollution. Is that something you saw evidenced?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point. You know, the scientific opinion is pretty much universal in saying that this is a system that's in real trouble. And it's often big picture stuff that affects it. You know, we talk about zonation and setting up nature reserves and all that, but the big things like climate change and ocean acidification are things that affect these systems. So this was particularly lovely and particularly poignant to make this series because essentially you're potentially recording something for the last time. You know, there are estimates that within 30 or 50 years the reef may change beyond all recognition.
Endangered species as well, I know you looked at, and I think we can see something about turtles now. Let's have a look now.
Having mated offshore, thousands of females haul themselves up the beach to lay their eggs. The record is 26,000 turtles in a single night. They turn a remote desert island into a crowded frenzy of nocturnal activity. Wind and waves have created an island that, for the moment at least, has just the right conditions to support this incredible spectacle.
You obviously saw some amazing things over that year. Now, in the introduction I said we'd see sharks that walk on land.
Yeah, well, our researchers told me about this and I didn't believe it at first, but they have evolved to live in the rock pools that are created when the tide goes down and the top of the reef flat is actually exposed. And when you see them, when you're just diving on the reef, they look slightly pathetic. They're only about this long and they sort of wiggle around the place. But you see them in a rock pool, they can endure almost toxically high levels of oxygen that happens in the rock pools, and virtually zero levels of oxygen, and they don't so much swim as waddle. So they can actually be out of the water.
Much like yourself, mate.
Very much like myself. And they will walk around on the reef top, flop into a rock pool and start hunting. So you see something beautifully evolved for this really unique environment.
I'm intrigued, Monty, because the bar is being set very high at the moment in wildlife or nature photography and filming and programmes. David Attenborough, of course, the master himself. Do you feel, you're filming for a year, do you feel, that pressure, if you like, of delivering extraordinary... Because we are used now to seeing extraordinary things, aren't we?
I think one of the things that really surprised me during the course of this series was those hidden stories. And the work of the crew is unbelievable. As you say, the standards that are required and the dedication to produce that type of footage. But happily, during the course of the filming of this series, there were some genuinely new moments and magic moments that hadn't been filmed before. So certainly as a marine biologist, watching the subsequent footage is incredibly exciting.
What was that we saw just a moment ago there?
That was a parrotfish making its mucus cocoon. They actually sleep in a sleeping bag.
Wow.
And it protects them from the scent. Its scent cannot get into the water, so sharks can't find it very easily. Parasites can't find it very easily.
And again, that was a first. No one had ever filmed one of those cocoons being
And I
made
imagine
before.
one of the things that's made wildlife photography and filming completely different is the changing in technology, how everything's changing so fast, all the new things that are coming in all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing we really used a lot is small digital cameras that you can hide on the reef, because however much you try and hide...
So you could hide the camera?
Yeah, absolutely, because however much you try not to encroach on the animals, a scuba diver with bubbles and fins is going to create a presence, so you could just leave the cameras there.
The images are incredible. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And just a reminder for you, The Great Barrier Reef, Nature's Miracle on BBC Two on January the 1st at 8 p.m.
It's great.